Just got out of the train. I'm in Charleroi. I pronounced it well. It's literally translated Charles the King. Hold on. Yeah, there's the exit. Did I go that well? I think I did. They will. Anyway, I'll see. Okay. There I am. Charleroi. I believe this is the city center. The trams are over there, there are buses. I'll be walking that direction. I won't need to go in there. Just walk through the city, see what I'll encounter. Again, I'll begin at the 4-minute mark. That's why I do it when I don't use StreamYard. Okay. Yeah. You should be able to see me clearly. Oh yeah, I can cross. It's better. I'll start at the 4-minute mark, as always. Well, when I do live streams without StreamYard. It's not raining right now. I hope it's not going to rain again. So let me see. Mm-hmm. 4-minute mark, I'll start teaching. Oh, a few more seconds. All right, it's a 4-minute mark. I'm in Charleroi, as I already said. I said it, I believe, 4 times already, but I don't care. And I'm in Belgium. And yeah, the city was renamed Charles the King by the Spaniards who governed this area in the 17th century. They didn't give it a Spanish name because people didn't speak Spanish, they spoke French. They gave it a French name called Charles the King, after Charles II, King of Spain. Now today, as you can see, kind of a modern city with some 19th century styled architecture over there. And now of course, you have statues. They really have to maintain these statues, y'all. This doesn't look that good. But anyway, here's a river over here. And there you have some art over there. Let me show you. Yeah, see that? Okay, so what will I discuss in this live stream? This live stream may take around 20-25 minutes. It won't be that long. What I want to explain to you all is that society only has cycles. Simple as that. Society only has cycles. Nothing more, nothing less. I'm not talking about natural cycles. For example, your sleeping cycles, you need to sleep. I'm not talking about the cycle that you need to eat and drink, or that women will have a menstrual cycle each month. I'm talking about society consists out of psychological and artificial cycles. That's all society is. That's all. The trick is to make you believe that there is more to it than just the cycles. Because the moment you believe that there's more to it than just the cycles, you will look for more that doesn't exist. And that is the purpose. The moment you look for more than actually exists, that's how the spell begins to work on you. Now, here's another statue. Oh, and don't forget, this cock symbol over here is symbolic for Nimrod. You know, that guy, that hunter in ancient times established Babylon, that came up with the idea to build the Tower of Babel, the one who was married with his own mom and had a baby. His mom was Semiramis. The first motherfucker in history was Nimrod. And this cock symbol refers to him. Just so you guys know. It's a little bit of a small mountain over there. Okay? Yeah, just want to point that out. You may ask yourself, why are they putting a symbol? There's nothing wrong with peacocks in itself. Those are just animals that God made. But they're using the symbol of that animal to refer to Nimrod. You even have some churches with that symbol on top of their towers. Why? Because secretly, fallen mankind wants to follow the footsteps of Nimrod. That's why. Now, I don't want to talk too much about this whole Nimrod situation because it's quite disturbing, it's quite disgusting also. But just, let me go into it. When mankind began to multiply after the flood of Noah, Noah was getting drunk all the time. He had all these deep-rooted issues. Ham, one of his sons, he was a sexual pervert, just straight up. I won't go into what he did to Noah. You can read it yourself. It got him banned from the rest of human family, he and his family. Japhet was kind of absent, and Shem, I don't know what that guy was doing. But anyway, the sons of Noah with their wives began to multiply, their children also. So the human population began to grow. And one of the descendants of Ham was Nimrod. And Nimrod, his mom, was what today may consider, well, a prostitute. So, and this guy was like a mommy's boy, as they would call it. He was so under the control of his mother, even into adulthood. His mom, Semiramis, was so into obtaining power that she even began to use sexual seduction on her own son just to start some mystical religion. Yes, Semiramis and her son Nimrod established the first religion on the earth. Yes, that is what happened. Semiramis, who's also known as the Whore of Babylon, who actually was a Nephilim. So I'm not going into that right now. Semiramis and her son-in-law, Nimrod, started the first religion. What was this first religion all about? It was all about not having to fulfill God's plan for your life. That's it. Think about it. At the time, they were building the Tower of Babel. They're also building the city, Babylon. There were not many people on the earth yet. By the way, can you all hear me clearly? I'm moving more further away from the noise now, but can you all hear me clearly? Let me know, please. Let me know. Thank God it's not raining. Can you all hear me clearly? Let me know in the live chat, please. Okay, that's good. There may have been around, I would say, 9,000 till 10,000 people on the earth at the time. Some say around 3,000, but I tend to go with maybe 9 to 10,000 people. Okay? So you have 9 to 10,000 people. They had the entire earth at their disposal. The Caribbean islands, North America with its giant rivers, lakes, the Rocky Mountains, all of that. South America with the rainforest. And don't forget the Andes Mountains also. They also had Australia, the islands of Polynesia, including New Zealand, Fiji. They had, don't forget Indonesia. Oh my God, those islands with rainforests, all the spices were growing. They also had Europe, of course, Siberia, the Himalayas. Don't forget the continent of Africa. By the way, there was no Sahara Desert back then yet. The word desert formation was going on, but most of the Sahara Desert was actually covered with lakes and rainforests also. My God, they had the entire earth available to them. Why would you, around 10,000 people, decide to build a city? Well, for us, it will be a town, because a city for us today is a giant place with hundreds of thousands of people living there. For back then, there were around 10,000 people, and they decided to build this big town with this giant tower, so they could stay there forever, they and their offspring. And once in a while, someone would go out to hunt, catch some wild animals, or catch some fish. You had the farmers nearby, they would do the farming. So they wanted to have a local structure that would provide for them without them having to manage the earth. And was that not God's plan for the human species, to manage the earth on his behalf? So shouldn't we embrace all the challenges of life? Because that's God's plan. Well, guess what? Fallen mankind doesn't want to do that. So Semiramis and her son-in-law, Nimrod, they came up with, you know what, let's put a spell on these people. Let's put a sexual trauma spell on these people to let them believe that running away collectively is worth it. That's all society is, running away collectively. So the first society on earth, including the first religion on earth, was established by Semiramis and her son-in-law, Nimrod. They had a love child together called Tammuz also. Not going to that either right now. You have some holidays today that people have that refer to this love child Tammuz. Well, okay. Oh, by the way, those peaks at the top refer to Nimrod's penis, but I'll explain it in another live stream. But anyway, they started the first religion and first society. So religion and society go hand in hand. There's no such thing as society without religion. Religion is the basis of every society. Again, society is not the same as community, which I have to explain a lot to a lot of people. Society is not the same as community. Now, so you had around 10,000 people. They lived in what they call Iraq, between the rivers Euphrates and Tigris. They were building this tower. So all based on them want to escape God's assignment for them. That's it. Now the Heavenly Father came down, walked amongst them, but they don't recognize him. The Heavenly Father was a human form, but they didn't recognize it was the Heavenly Father himself that was amongst them. So the Heavenly Father came down, he confused their languages, make sure they spread over the earth. And that process of spreading over the earth, God is doing that till this day. Listen, if they would have succeeded with the Tower of Babel, the human species would not have lost that long. And even if the human species would have lasted maybe a couple of centuries, they would all have the same language, same customs, same skin tones. There wouldn't be any diversity of skin colors like we have today. No diversity of phenotypes. What we today call, quote unquote, white people or Europeans wouldn't have existed. Because back then, during the flood of Noah, before, also in the Tower of Babel, everyone was light-skinned and colored. The albino people that eventually became what we call Europeans or white people, they came much later, through the descendants of Gomar and Javan and the other sons of Japhet. So, Europeans were watching this, you wouldn't have existed if the Tower of Babel would have continued. What I'm pointing out here is that society is all about escaping God's plan. That's all it is. However you look at it, that's all it comes down to. What Semiramis and her son Nimrod did is by establishing sexual violence as an institution, because not only did Semiramis and her son Nimrod engage in an incestual, disgusting relationship that produced at least one child, Tammuz, they also came with the excellent idea, quote unquote, to select men from the people that they considered to be of quality. What they do with such men? They castrated them. They sexually mutilated those men, just to make sure they wouldn't run off. I mean, run off where? There were no other humans on the earth. The whole species was just there, between those two rivers. But that pattern of sexually attacking, sexually disabling, or even sexually mutilating quality men, it has continued throughout history. In ancient China, the men that often governed, I'm talking about the emperor and the kings, the men who often did the public administration of the Chinese empire were eunuchs, were castrated men. Why? Because they trusted them to govern the public. So, if you were considered of quality as a man, you had to run away, because you may end up being disabled from ever having children or an offspring, or you may be disabled from ever having natural intercourse with a female ever again in your life. Just look it up in history. And eunuchs were in use in East Asia till the late 19th century. In the Catholic Church, this was a tradition from ancient Rome. You had the castratos. Those were men who were castrated when they were little boys. And because of somewhere before puberty, that's why they developed those intense high peaks in their voices. And they became the quality singers in the Catholic Church. Now the last castrato died somewhere, I believe, in the 1860s or something like that. They say they stopped using castratos, but I'm skeptical about that. So this sexual violence against men of quality, it goes against nature. It's the men who are actually of quality that should be rewarded the most and motivated the most. It's the men who are of quality, those are the ones who should be motivated the most and rewarded the most. But Nimrod and his mom came with the idea, no, Such men, you need to mutilate them sexually so that they are never have the motivation to move away. So sexually healthy men are considered a threat to society. This is how it was since ancient Babylon, the same is still this day. Every society seeks to tune down, or at least slightly damage masculinity. If all men were healthy and masculine, society could not exist. So how do you keep the majority of the men in the population sexually damaged? You can't castrate all men because else you won't have any next generation. You just make sure they're psychologically castrated. And to do that, you have trauma rituals. For example, police brutality, when the cops arrive. By the way, police brutality is something that was invented in ancient Egypt. A lot of people know that. In police brutality, you make sure someone is brutalized publicly, and this terrifies the other men, especially the young boys. And they now will always remember, oh, if others get upset with me, what happened to that guy can also happen to me. So now, anytime they're about to become ambitious as a man, they feel a shock. So they don't go that far. This shock is a psychological trauma that is induced into them by society through the ritual of police brutality. Yes, police brutality is a ritual. Now you know. Now, even this does not literally castrate the man. He still has testicles and his penis, all of that. You can still impregnate women, all of that. But the thing is, his sexual function declines as a result, psychologically, and after that, also physically. So, besides police brutality, there are also humiliation rituals in which they sometimes humiliate even children who have no idea what goes on. Just that one child turns out to be the dysfunctional adult everyone looks down upon, so everyone will feel like, well, at least I'm not like that guy or that woman over there. And because everyone is afraid to end up abandoned and victimized like that one child, who's now a dysfunctional adult, people get along and they tend not to question society. So society is a ring of sexual violence, ritually enacted on the public without the public realizing it. That's what it is. How many of you heard this explanation before? Anywhere? Let me know in the live chat. Let me know. Let me know. How many of you heard this explanation of society before? Hold on. Society and religion have their origins in ancient Babylon, with Semiramis, who had an incestuous relationship with her own son and had loved children even together. So all our ancestors back then, maybe just a few exceptions, submitted to an incestuous theocracy that was based on sexual violence. That's what it was. Now, knowing this, that this is what society is, you have to look at all the other things that go on in society and ask the following question: what are they hiding? Because society goes like this. The sex trauma rituals are enacted symbolically. You psychologically castrate the men. The women develop intense anxiety as a result also. And now you have to offer relief from that anxiety and that pain. That's the psychology there in the public. But this, let me say, the sex violence rituals that are done ritually on the public, it brings forth dysfunction. This dysfunction is just embarrassing. So you have to hide the dysfunctions. Everyone thinks everything's fine. Look, it could be they built a new warehouse with 200 shops in it. But you think we already had 2,000 shops around here in this city. We already have 2,000 shops that were perfectly fine. Why did they build an extra center with over 200 shops? I mean, the population not increased. People don't have more money to spend, so why did they build this mall over there? It's to give the impression that the population is moving ahead financially. It's to pretend that there's financial abundance in the population. Well, there is no financial abundance. Thing is, when a new mall comes, people will say, wow, look at the mall, how nice it looks, this and that. And because everyone's so focused on that mall, they do not notice all the other bad stuff that are going on. So it isn't just mainstream media today that distracts the public. Many of the projects out there, like building new malls, building new public complexes, extending a port, all those things are done so that people don't wake up one day and realize, what the F are we into? What did our parents submit onto? What did our grandparents and ancestors submit onto? Why are we doing this? That's why there are two things that can happen. If you were the victim of society, if you were the neglected one, two things can happen. Either they turn you into a celebrity to shut your mouth, they overwhelm you with luxury so they can use it against you, and then we want to complain. People will think that you're the crazy one, you're the ungrateful one. Either do that, or they'll try to get rid of you. Either by putting you in prison with some false charge, whatever, or they'll put you in a mental asylum claiming you're crazy, or they'll just blacklist you, you can't get a job, you end up dying homeless in the streets, or they actually informally trigger people to go after you to take your life. Because one thing society can't handle is exposure. So, for those that think that, man, we're not part of Babylon, listen, every society on the earth is a daughter of the great whore Babylon. You know, in the book of Revelation, it talks about the great whore, mother of all harlots and abominations of the earth. Well, all societies on the earth are modeled after ancient Babylon. They all are. So every society out there is a daughter of the great whore. So because every society is a daughter of the great whore, it's only through whoredom that you can make it in society. Whether it's whoredom literally by selling your body to the highest bidder, or whether it is whoring financially, like politicians do. Society is a whore. Society is a hoe. It's a hoe that the public enacts together. That's why society has those tantrums that they enact to the institutions. You guys have to read the book of Revelations and study it better. The book of Revelation shows you what goes on. Society only has cycles. And just like a woman has a menstrual cycle bleeding each month, society has this victimization cycle in which from time to time they look for victims to murder. But the murder cannot happen indiscriminately because everyone will turn on one another, so they have to channel the killing energy of the public towards selected victims. And that's why you have warfare in the world, that's why you have organized crime. All these things are there to give an outlet to public unrest. That's what it is. So, once you understand this about society, and you notice all the other stuff you're doing just distractions, you realize, hold on a minute, if all these other things are just distractions, then what are they hiding? They're hiding the one big secret. And the one big secret of society, in every society, is that the public relies on the bloodshed of their own people by their own hands for them to remain stable in the long run. The public cannot remain stable in the long run without an outlet for their unrest. So to have an out of their unrest, they need to have organized bloodshed so that they all can relieve themselves. But this is the one secret people don't want you to know. I just revealed it multiple times on this channel. That's why a lot of people were targeting me. But that's what it comes down to. So, when you're part of society, you're part of the bloodshed, and at some point you're expected to join the bloodshed or to be the target of the bloodshed, one of the two. So what do? We as believers, we ought to have communities. We ought to have communities. We shouldn't be part of society. We need to have communities. If you want to be part of society, you're following the blueprint laid down by an incestuous mother who was sleeping with her own son to get political power. That is the blueprint you're following. Simple as that. Simple as that. Why do you think, symbolically, so many political and religious organizations make references to ancient Babylon? Because all they do is follow the blueprint of ancient Babylon. Oh, hold on a minute. I don't know what he is saying, but he was talking loud on the phone. Look, I said this before. Communities is God's plan. We ought to expect over the earth to have communities. But to all join together under this pattern of escapism called society is not from God. It's an abomination. I just showed you where this abomination comes from. I don't care whether it's Chinese society, Chilean society, American society, Dutch society, Zimbabwean society. Any society on the earth is an offspring and is modeled after ancient Babylon that was started by Nimrod and his incestuous mother. Simple as that. And one thing about ancient Babylon is that it eliminated healthy masculinity. So Nimrod was the emperor, only he was allowed to be manly. All the other men were supposed to be effeminate or terrified all the time. This model was copied by the people from Kemet or ancient Egypt. And instead of Nimrod, you had Pharaoh. And Pharaoh was the man, all the other guys were meant to work for Pharaoh. And Pharaoh had the police force that would, my God, tear you apart, sometimes literally, but often figuratively, if you didn't work for Pharaoh. And then you had the goddesses. In ancient Babylon, you had Semiramis, while Semiramis was now replaced by the goddess cult of ancient Egypt. We had all these women, young and old, so sometimes even teenagers, being community prostitutes. They were adorned and praised for it. Prostitution was considered holy prostitution. All these things are ways to keep the single society going. There is no society without prostitution, because prostitution is the DNA of society. Let me say it one more time. There's no society without prostitution, because prostitution is the DNA of society. Simple as that. So any society claiming that, oh, they don't need prostitution, the people are completely well, they're lying to you. Only Christ-centered communities that do the will of Heavenly Father will be free completely from prostitution. Any other human coming together will have some type of prostitution popping up sooner or later. All right? Okay. Society only has cycles, guys. Once you see the cycles, you see what goes on, and now you know this is all there is. The moment you look more into it, you're looking for something that doesn't exist, and you end up exhausted and confused. And that's how they scam you. Simple as that. Okay. By the way, how many of you have seen my previous live stream of today? This is my second live stream of today, likely my last one. I visited Luik, or in English, Liège today. Here I'm in Charleroi now. Going to walk around a little bit, before I go back to the Netherlands. How many of you see my previous live stream of today? Let me know in the live chat. If you haven't, that's fine. You can always watch the replay. If you haven't watched the live stream, please watch it because I did some good motivation in it too. Just know the following. As a believer, you're in the world but not of it. You're in society but you're not of it. That means you do get along with practical things like paying taxes, obeying traffic rules, you use the same language as people you're living at, use the same currency. You participate in practical things, but you're not part of it. Because the moment you become part of society, you participate in the sexual violence, and you get all the plagues come with it. Didn't the Heavenly Father say in the book of Revelation, come out of her, my people? So you won't have fellowship with their sins, nor partake in her plagues. Listen. Any average society out there is a baby Babylon, modeled after the first Babylon where God intervened. So you cannot be part of society and not become dysfunctional, not become defect, and not suffer the plagues and the sorrows coming with being defective. It's not possible. Society cannot function when everyone's in the right mind. If everyone's in the right mind, valuing themselves, society cannot exist. Simple as that. Amen? So, are there any questions about this topic? Please let me know. Please let me know. I told you this live stream wouldn't take that long. There's not much I have to say. Just want to remind you guys about this. So what a lot of people say that in the Western world today, masculinity is looked down upon, masculinity is treated as toxic, whatever. That's how it always has been. That's how it always has been. True masculinity, according to God's plan, if men would behave that way worldwide, there wouldn't be any world anymore, no society, no religion, none of those things could even exist. It's by suppressing masculinity and therefore damaging the female population that society is able to function. So society cannot bring forth healthy, stable women. Now, society can bring forth manageable women that can be managed, but they can't bring forth stable, healthy women. Because for stable femininity, you need stable masculinity. And society cannot operate in stable masculinity. That's why. Listen, every spell, if a spell is done on you, and you completely value yourself, 9 out of 10 times the spell will dissolve very quickly. But if you don't actually value yourself properly, I'm telling you, the spell's likely to work. So value yourself in line with Christ. And by the way, value yourself is not being narcissistic. Narcissistic behavior is when you don't value yourself and you're compensating. But actually valuing yourself is almost impossible for spells to work on you and for people to trick you. Simple as that. Amen? All right. Okay. Now, again, thanks to you all for being here. Again, hit the like button, share this live stream, subscribe to the channel, become a member of the channel, donate in the links below. If you wish to contribute to fund my PhD, if you want to write PhD with your donation, thank you very much. And also check my novels on Amazon, more upcoming. I'm about to take another walk to this city, see what I can see. If there are monuments or architecture, whatever. And hey, I'll see you next live stream. Be at peace, and don't forget, only Jesus is Lord, no one else. Amen.